Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday. It's the first Tuesday of October, and it's the first Tuesday of the fourth quarter. It's time to finish strong. And what better way to do that than to kick off your week with none other than the 2-2 podcast. Listen, I'm so glad you could join me today. Today is going to be a very, very, very awesome episode. I don't know how many times I have to say very, but whatever. Listen, we're going to have a good time today. And with that being said, you know the move. You know what to do next. Grab your friends. Grab your family. Grab your coworkers. Grab your haters. We're about to go to work. See you in a minute. Have you ever wanted to record a podcast but didn't know the way? Well, I've got good news. Let me tell you about something. It's called Anchor. And Anchor is the easiest way to record a podcast. Let me explain. It's absolutely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So here's what I need you to do. Please download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this episode today, I want to ask a couple of questions. The first being this, show of hands. I know you can't see me, I can't see you. This ain't a video, but just pretend we're all in a room and we're talking about this. We're just having a little family discussions. But show of hands. How many have had those days where it felt like no one believed in the work that you do or they supported it? Because just like the way we have to deal with the revolving door of friendships and connections, and I know I talk about friendships and connections a lot on here. I talk about mental health a lot on here, and that's just what I'm about. But in the same way that we deal with the revolving door of friendships and connections, we have to deal with the revolving door of support. There are some people that love revolving doors, not to go in the building, but to just play with the door. You know, we've all did that when we were kids, and sometimes as an adult we've done that, where we have gone to a place with a revolving door just to play with a revolving door. The employees don't like it. The security doesn't like it. They don't like you playing with the door because eventually it's going to break. But there are some people that like to play with revolving doors just to play with revolving doors. And we have to deal with the revolving door of friendships. And we have to deal with the revolving door of support simply because these days, authentic support is hard to find. Authentic support is very, very, very much so hard to find. It's hard to come by. It's hard to keep. And you would think, and before I go any further with this, you can't take everybody on the next level. You can't take everybody on the next level of success. You can't take take people on the next level of your journey. You can't take people into every season of your life. You can't do that. But at the same time, as seasons change and levels come about, you would at least think, in some way, shape, or form, here it is, that you would have people would develop some consistency. That you would at least get some consistent support. And so this year, I've had to learn the value of betting on me. I had to learn the value of betting on myself. I had to learn the value of this. And there was somebody I know who one day on Facebook, she put a post up. She posted this. She said, "Support it or not, I'm completing my mission." And so that was just a wake-up call for me. And every day that I work and grind and do something, I'm always thinking about being my own supporter and being authentically supporting myself, and not really totally worrying about the support from others. I appreciate the support from every person that I'm around. I appreciate it, whether it's been a long time or just started. I appreciate that. You have to learn and value and appreciate. Learn to value and appreciate that type of support. You have to do that. But at the same time, I have to learn to value supporting myself. And today, for a little bit, I know the introduction to this was very, very much long, very much so. It was very long. I mean, what am I doing right now? It was very long today, but today let's just tell the story of how I got into podcasting and how I bet on myself daily. How do I do that each and every day to help me along the way as I progress into some different ventures going into this last quarter of the year, going into 2021. How do we do that? Okay, let's first ask yourself a question. Ask your group a question, or you could put this question at the back end of this episode, at the end, once you're done. Have this discussion. How do you bet on yourself? What are you doing daily? Well, let's tell the story before we go further. Of course, we're all dealing with the pandemic, and I do a little character development teaching. I do a little teaching on leadership, character development, and with young men in the local school district here local public school district here in Columbus. And so once everything shut down, I was at a point where I was trying to figure out what next. I got all this stuff I wanted to talk about with the kids. We had just finished teaching the book Boys Won't Be Boys, which that is written by my mentor and hero, Coach Tim Brown. Please pick up a copy of that book. It is one of my all-time favorite books. And I'm not just saying that because I've been teaching it for so many years. I'm saying that simply because it really speaks to my life even to this day about being uncommon. You've heard me talk about the word uncommon on here. The word uncommon having two definitions. The first definition being weird, peculiar, strange, out there. But then I was always taught to look at the second definition of a word, and the second definition of the word uncommon is this, that it is remarkably great. And so every week I constantly taught about being remarkably great in relationships and friendships, having uncommon sense, and asking the question, is common sense really uncommon? And that answer is yes. Common sense can be very uncommon these days. And so week after week we talked about the word uncommon. We talked about being a gentleman of excellence. We talked about pegging your peers. And you've heard me talking about pegging your peers on here. Talking about the different peer groups. People encouraging errors, rudeness, and stupidity versus people encouraging excellence, respect, and success. And talking about deciphering which group your friends, your circle of friends, your circle of influence is in. And just trying to decipher that and figuring out whether one outweighs the bad and one outweighs the good, and which one has more of a concentration. I know I'm stuttering right now. I talk very fast, so So my mouth moves faster than my brain sometimes. So work with me here. But everything shut down in March. We were in the middle of going around to different schools and talking to kids, and all of a sudden we had to abruptly stop that. And so at a certain point I was trying to figure out, okay, I have all this material. What am I going to do now? And so with the encouragement of a couple of friends of mine who are in YouTube, who are doing some YouTube videos. Shout out to my buddy Ebony. Shout out to my friend Dion, and shout out to my friend Tanika. They've been doing podcasting and YouTube for the absolute longest, and with the encouragement of them, I wanted to do a podcast a long time ago. And I told this story at the beginning, the very first episode, where I did a podcast called, I did a thing when Ustream, everybody had a Ustream show. And so that was my first jump into podcasting years and years ago when I had nothing to talk about. It was just me on there just rambling incoherently about nothing. I was a stupid teenager sometimes. I just wanted to follow a trend. But this situation was a little bit different. I had a lot of material that I didn't get to teach, and I wanted to give it to somebody, and I wanted to release it to someone to talk a bit and help somebody out. And so I asked the question and started doing the planning in March about about how to go about this. And so with the consultation of several friends of mine, I was encouraged to do a podcast. And so I went about a few names. It was initially it was going to be called Outwork You, the Outwork You podcast. I thought I had another one called But I Did, but I pushed that off. That was going to be something a little bit different. And so I literally took a vote. I asked several friends of mine, okay, let's what's name sounds good? And so unanimously, everybody liked Tutu. Where did I come up with the Tutu? With Tutu? One of my favorite verses in the Bible is Habakkuk 2:2, which says, "Write the vision, make it plain. Those who may read it will run with it." And so I wanted to. Here's the first key. Here's one of the first keys with betting on yourself. I wanted to run with the vision that I wrote. Run with the vision. And so, every time I see the numbers, the 2-2, every time I see 2-2, it reminds me that I need to continuously not only write the vision that I have, but also to run with it, and to always invest in the vision that I have, and always align the vision that I have with God's plan for my life. And so, this all started in April. I did a pilot episode, which I am not putting the pilot episode back up there, and but I did a pilot episode. It got a lot of really great feedback, and then I turned around in a few weeks. Well, I did the pilot episode in March, with a launch date of April, first week in April, and so April 9th was the very first, April 8th, April 9th was the very first episode of the 2-2 podcast, the premiere episode. And so I started off by talking about watch your thoughts that become your words, watch your words that become your actions, watch your actions that become your habits, watch your habits that become your character, and watch your character becomes your destiny. I talked about that and just broke it down and talked about that your destiny starts with a decision. And so I had all this material, and I said to myself, beforehand, I wanted to not only take this material, add some more to it, and then continuously write. Here's the second key. Be consistent about your craft. Be consistent about your craft. Be consistent about what you do. Consistently write, design, sing, do the necessary things that it takes. I heard this story about Prince. And Prince, I'm still trying to figure out if it's all the way true or not. I read a story, this is shortly after he passed away, that every morning when he woke up, before he did anything else, before he signed any, before he, had any meetings or anything like that, he would record 2 songs in the morning. 2 songs. He'd lay the track down, he'd sing, he'd do everything it took. He'd record 2 songs in the morning. And then before he went to bed, he recorded 2 more songs. And if you don't know, Prince has a catalog of music that is expansive. It's immense. It's an immense catalog of unreleased music. I can't even remember how many songs there are. It's thousands upon thousands upon thousands. Tens of thousands to be exact. Could be more. And so it's all about another part of betting on yourself is just being consistent and doing the necessary things to build upon that and become better. And so I decided I was going to get back into writing a whole lot more. And so for I have learned the value of writing and really using my voice to help others. And so, number 3, as far as betting on yourself, what do you do? Or what at least do I do? It's about prayer. Pray without ceasing. It's going to be hard. I promise you it's going to be hard. I promise you every day is going to be stinking hard. Every wake, you're going to have some days where you just don't feel it. You're not feeling it. And I've had several days within doing this podcast where I just said, I just don't feel like it. But pray without ceasing. And here's the other part. There's another part in that. Also, value having a day where you just declutter. Will you have a day where you just decompress? Have a day where you just go, I'm not writing a thing. I'm just going to rest. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to get the things that I'm going to value my mental health today because I don't want to go into mental overload. Value that. I tell you, before this year, I always hid behind stuff, doing things, going out, going to soccer matches and football games and basketball games and going somewhere all the doggone time. I valued doing that, and I hid behind that, And so, when you hide behind things, sometimes it's not always to have me time. Sometimes we hide behind things because we hide behind we hide our issues behind going places because sometimes we're scared to deal with what is haunting us each and every day. Sometimes it's not always the case. And so this year was very unique and significant as a point of bringing me back to where I'm supposed to be, and that's helping others, and that's speaking into the lives of people of all ages. Another key to betting on yourself is finding your why, finding what makes you you, finding your identity, finding supercharging your niche. What if you do supercharging that thing? I heard Tyler Perry say something about supercharging your niche, and you have to supercharge that thing in your life that makes you you. What is a niche, to be exact? And I got the definition here. Y'all know I like definitions. Y'all know we couldn't have an episode without a definition. And so, what is a niche? It is a comfortable or suitable position in life or employment. And so, he talked about supercharging your niche, tapping into your calling, getting comfortable within your calling. Getting comfortable means that you're willing to be uncomfortable for a little bit comfortable and uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And what does that mean? Sometimes you got to learn how to grow within that thing, grow within your purpose. And growing within your purpose is so hard. It's so hard, especially when people don't really understand why you go so hard or why you're doing what you're doing. It's so hard to grow in your purpose when most times in your life you feel so long. It's so hard to grow and be comfortable within your calling when sometimes you're still trying to figure out what it is. And another key to betting on yourself is letting God have his way. Let God order and allowing God to order your steps. Sometimes we try to sometimes we don't allow God to order our steps. Sometimes we think we all have it all under control. But if you allow God to order your steps and you align what you want, you align what you want to do with what he wants you to do, you'll go further and further. But always be willing to supercharge your niche. Find that thing. Supercharge your purpose. Get comfortable but uncomfortable at the same time. When it comes to betting on yourself. It's hard. It's hard to bet on yourself when you've never bet on yourself before. It's very hard. It's very difficult to when you see the circumstances ahead of you, when you see how hard the journey is going to be, it's very hard to continue to have confidence that everything will work out fine. Especially when you've tried something and you failed and you failed and you failed and you failed. It's very, very hard to see it if your confidence is not there and you sometimes get stuck in a place where we want to quit. And you've heard me say that before. We get stuck in a place where we want to quit, give up. But always be willing to daily and constantly bet on yourself. You can't allow who you are, that voice in your head, that inner me that's the enemy, to allow you to quit. Bet on yourself. Bet on you. It doesn't matter what other people think. What other people have to say about it. I wouldn't do that. You bet it in me. If I were you, I wouldn't do that right now. And it's just, some people are discerning. Other people are just discouraging. And you have to learn. Here's another thing about betting on yourself. especially when you got a lot of people, when you got people around. You have to learn. You have to learn how to decipher between discouragement and discernment. Are people saying things to be critical of you? Are people being critical to help you? Or are people being critical because they are critical people? They're just critical and negative people. Do you have to value the ability to decipher between discernment and discouragement? There are a lot of people that disguise discouragement within discernment. And they want to always have something negative to say about what you're doing. They always want to have something stupid to say about what it is you're striving to be and what you're striving to do. Bet on yourself by praying daily. Pray daily. And the prayer, I didn't. I kind of alluded to that when I talked about mental health, but I'm gonna put this on the back end rather. Praying daily. Pray daily. And the prayers don't have to be eloquent. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. You don't have to say a whole lot. It's not a lot of thine, thee, thou, and just sometimes. You know what? Have a conversation with God. Talk to him. Cast all your cares upon him. Even in the difficult times, just pray that your faith will be strengthened. Pray that your drive won't go away. That your drive won't diminish. That is my prayer every day. Like, Lord, just keep me together. Help me keep my focus. Help me to live my purpose on purpose. Through the podcast and through everything that I do with this brand. Because not only am I betting on myself by praying and valuing mental health, and writing daily and discerning between discouragement and deciphering between discouragement and discernment. Watching the people around you, not allowing yourself to quit, persevering and all that stuff. But betting on yourself means you're constantly building that brand. I got a brand to build. It means having a mogul mindset, a billionaire mindset at all times. This is still being as humble as you are when it involves humility. Betting on yourself and takes a bit of humility as well. It takes humility, but sometimes it takes a lot of confidence. It takes boldness and humility at the same time. And so when you're building your brand, you need to be bold enough to think about the future. Be bold enough to that when the future comes, that you're still as humble as you are when you did the podcast, when you were, in the humble beginnings of podcasting or whatever you're doing. Don't allow some level of success to remove your feelings of being humble and grateful for being there. Don't let it remove that feeling. Sometimes, and we've seen this so many times in so many ways, people get to a certain level of success and they forget the value of being humble, gracious, grateful, and and the value. They forget to value being humble and being grateful for being where they are. Be grateful. But building your brand takes a little time. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some work, and continue to do so. It's going to be fun, though. It's a lot of fun, I tell you. To be honest, I didn't realize how fun podcasting would be. I didn't realize how supportive podcasting is. And this is not a knock on any other podcasting network, but the Black Podcasting Network, man. We got it's a family of that we support each other. We love each other. We ride for each other. We're not trying to compete. Hopefully we're not trying to compete. We're trying to collaborate with each other and cheer each other on, because we all need one another, especially these days and times where it doesn't seem like we support each other. We need each other. We need that. What Rich Nathan, my former pastor, said. Would say, he did a series called The Beloved Community. We need community, and what better than better community than the platforms that we have in the podcasting community? We have an amazing platform to inspire, to promote change, to be great, to build brands, to support each other, to pray for each other, to collaborate with each other, to be creative and innovative with one another. To share ideas, and become the best we can all possibly be. And so, listen, continue to bet on you. Continue to bet on yourself. Daily. Bet daily. Bet on yourself. Work on you. Whatever it takes. If it takes not being around people for a while, then so be it, and be it so. If it takes taking a risk and leaving a place of employment to build upon that brand and bettering yourself, do so. If it takes being at your job and having to use the job that you're at to build that brand and to bet on yourself. And about that, about leaving a place, sometimes we're discouraged. Sometimes we can't bet on ourselves because we're stuck at a job. We get comfortable in a place at our job, at a job we've been at. I've been in that place where I've been comfortable with the job that I've been at. And so you have to learn how to bet on yourself, even in the midst of being in a place where it seems like everything is stagnant and stuck and weird. Bet on you. Take the time, whatever it takes. You have to have a whatever it takes mindset. When you're betting on yourself, you have to have a whatever it takes mindset. You have to be willing to go, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take a leap. I'm going to I'm going to take that jump. I'm going to go deeper and deeper every day. So bet on yourself. Always bet on yourself. Listen, thank you for joining me as I rambled on and on and on and on and on and on about today. Listen, you don't want to miss Thursday. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to I'm enjoying surprising people with the episodes rather than just making a whole spectacle about it. I'm going to definitely get back into doing videos for the episode. We'll promo videos for it really soon. It's just been a lot going on as of recent. And so I wanted to take some time to just kind of go back to the basics and then go from there. But we are going to get back into the whole shebang of this thing. I can't wait to get back to it on Thursday. Let's do it again. We'll see you soon. Right here on the Tutu Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to follow me at AlexJ_Live. That is AlexJ_Live on Instagram. And also follow the show page on Instagram at Tutu_Podcast. That is Tutu_Podcast. _podcast. We'll see you soon. Thanks for joining.